everybody. This is Jake with All Things Garmisch and Bavarian Beer Vacations. And today, as promised, I am on Ludwigstrasse. Ludwigstrasse is the historical heart of Partenkirchen. We have two towns here, Garmisch and Partenkirchen. And of the two, Partenkirchen is my personal favorite, but don't tell the people in Garmisch that. Here in Partenkirchen on Ludwigstrasse, you have all these beautiful paintings on the buildings, and it is absolutely just a beautiful place to just wander around and enjoy the views. I do an entire tour where we walk up and down the street talking about the different shops, stores, and of course the paintings above. Now these paintings above that you see on a lot of these buildings are called the Luftmalerei. Oh, and good morning, Jeff. The Luftmalerei paintings became very popular in the 17 and 1800s. You see, during the 30 Years' War between 1618 and 1648, most of these towns were destroyed, and definitely most of the churches. Late 1600s, early 1700s, you have a rebirth that begins to occur, especially here in Bavaria. And by the early 1700s, there's suddenly rejuvenation, there's life, people are back out on the streets. Hopefully that's what happens in the next couple of months after this whole coronavirus scare. And one of the first things that happens is these merchants on streets like this, they wanted to start rebuilding their churches and rebuilding their homes. And when Bavaria began to rebuild its churches, it needed help. You see, Bavaria stayed Catholic at the end of the 30 Years' War, whereas the rest of Germany, what you think of as Germany or the Holy Roman Empire, mostly became Protestant. And so when Bavaria looked for architects and painters and artists to help them rebuild their churches and their homes, a lot of Italians showed up. For you have to understand, if we were to walk down this road and continue going if we were walking, probably for a day, but if we were in a car, it would take us about 2 hours, or less actually, we'd be in Italy. Isn't that crazy? It's actually only about 45 minutes away to the border. But to get to anywhere cool like Lagagata or Verona or anything like that, it takes you about 2 hours. Well, what ended up happening is these Italians used these old trade routes and they came north, here to Bavaria, looking for work. And not all of them got jobs rebuilding churches or working on very extravagant architectural projects. Hi, good morning, Priscilla. A lot of them, hey Scott, a lot of them ended up working for the merchants. These merchants, these store owners, who basically would use these painters to become carpenters or blacksmith's assistants or shopkeepers. And let's say you're the owner of this building behind me. You're the merchant. You finally get to own your own property in the early 1700s. And not only that, there's a newfound wealth because you're not paying for an expensive war. So you got a little extra income. And you find out that this Italian that you've hired, who is working inside your shop, is actually a pretty good painter. Well, you might get him to paint something on the side of your building. Something that tells the history of the area, but more importantly, is advertising. But what you have to keep in mind is Bavaria continued the anti-Reformation in the 1700s. So what did that mean? Well, here in Bavaria, you had to be a good Catholic and not one of those, as I jokingly say, nasty Protestants. I can say that because my wife is Protestant. But in any case, one of the things you would do when you would hire these painters, these Italians, to paint something on the building, is you might get them to put a little Christian iconoclasm into the advertisement that they're putting on the building. And so this is a very prime example. If we look up here, you can see the little small painting above the window. You can just start to make out that there are two cherubs in the field. When we go to the next one, the cherubs are in the field and they're cutting the wheat. And then the next one over, you can see that the cherubs are taking the wheat and they're taking it and they're kneading it into bread. And then you can see they're putting the bread into the oven. And just in case you didn't really get the whole symbolism, let's see if I can get a nice clear shot. If you look right there in the center, you can see that there is an eagle, a double-headed eagle, and it's holding a pretzel inside its talons. So yes, this building behind me used to be a bakery. Isn't that cool? So as I was saying, these paintings on the buildings, they started off as advertisement, as a way to advertise, but then they became a sign of wealth. They became their own artistic expression by the late 1700s. You start to see some of the great ones like Zink, who comes around in Oberammergau, and he starts painting these paintings on buildings detailing the story of the Passion Play itself, his hometown's theatrical performance to give thanks for the salvation from the plague. But real quick, behind me you can see there's the Post Hotel. The Post Hotel goes back to the old post heralds that would go from town to town and make announcements for kings. You can see him on his horse with his horn right there above me. He would blow his horn and go, "Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye." And then, of course, make the announcements that the king had told the people, or the people wanted to be informed of. Eventually, the Post Heralds were tasked. Hey, Stefan. The Post Heralds were tasked by a king by the name of Maximilian von Habsburg. I think it was late 1400s, to start delivering mail. And they did a very, very good job. They started delivering mail and making announcements for kings. And they would go from town to town and do this. Eventually, after Maximilian died, his grandson took over, a man by the name of Ferdinand. He became the Holy Roman Emperor who ruled Spain and Austria and most of what you think of as Germany today. Ferdinand wanted to extend this business model, and so he asked the Post Heralds of Italy to come north and work for him. These Post Heralds of Italy were all from one particular family. That family was called the Taxis family. They had delivered mail for the Pope. They came here to the Holy Roman Empire, began to deliver mail from town to town. They made deals with hotels as a place to drop off mail and pick up mail, and also a place where they could drop off their coach, because they were delivering people as well. They would deliver mail, deliver announcements, and deliver people from town to town. And as you can see, our Post Herald that we saw over there with his horn no longer has his horn, for now he's got a letter in his hand behind me, and you can see the coach just behind him. The Taxis family, there's many branches of it still around today within, of course, the old Holy Roman Empire. But the Taxis family, Taxis, that word Taxis, where have we heard that before? Hold on. Taxi? That's right. It's where we get the term taxis from. It's from the Taxis family. They were the first coach drivers within the Holy Roman Empire, delivering people from town to town. When you guys come to Partenkirchen, I will take you down this street. I love Ludwigstrasse. There's so much here to talk about, so many beautiful buildings and wonderful churches. There's our new church right there that was rebuilt in the 1800s after a fire. There was actually about 5 fires that attacked Partenkirchen in 1845, 1846, and destroyed most of the downtown area, forcing them to rebuild. The original church that was here in downtown Partenkirchen had been built in the 14th century, 1300s, and the stone, which was very old, had become quite porous, and in fact the steeple had broken off. Here's part of the old stone right here. And so they decided after the fire of 1865 to remove all this stone, get new stone from a rock quarry in Hugelfing, and completely rebuild the church into a Bavarian Gothic style. It's a great church, and if you guys are here, I'll take you inside. And last but not least, the last thing I want to speak of is behind me. You can see St. Razzo up there with his flag of St. George. St. Razzo was one of the founding fathers of the Andechs family, a noble family who ruled lands here in Bavaria. In fact, ruled lands all the way from Venice north to the city of Munich. The Andechs family eventually died out in the 12th century. And when they finally passed on, one of their old castles just outside the city of Munich was converted into a monastery in the 1500s. And that is home still to the Andechs Monastery and Brewery. And those of you who are fans of double bock beer, it's one of the world's best. Well guys, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.